I thought I had put that automatically on my recurring thing, so I'll have to go back and edit that. So, all right. Well, good evening, all. Happy to see everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Everybody looks good. I'm glad we can still see your faces.
Yeah.
Who do we have from the friends?
Phoebe. You're
Oh,
muted, Phoebe.
Phoebe? And Phoebe, can you spell your last name for me?
let me see if I can unmute you.
There's 3 little dots. If you hover to the upper right corner of her screen, and then you click on the dots, and you can ask her to unmute, and I think she gets a pop-up.
There you go.
I'm okay. It's my first name is Phoebe, Phoebe, and my last name is Meyer, Meijer.
Okay, thank you, Phoebe.
All right. And so I don't know if everybody heard, but Bruce Babcock, our town liaison, won't be able to attend this evening because he had a conflict. But it looks like we have everybody else in attendance. Okay, well, I guess we'll get right down to it. So everybody received the minutes from January from Denise. Any comments, questions, issues? If I could get a motion to approve the minutes for January.
I'll make a motion to approve January's minutes.
Thank
you.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. And then our vouchers that Stacy had sent out, we had vouchers 17 through 30 for a total of $9,430.69. Any adjustments to that came in, or that's okay? Great. So if I could get a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. And all in favor? Aye, aye. Beautiful, beautiful. All right.
Bring up something to do with the bills really quickly.
Yeah.
So our policy, because I had talked to Eastern Shore, and because of the paperwork, it gave me a nice review of some of our financial policy. And Gary is actually, the way it stands now, Gary should be signing all the checks along with me.
Ooh.
Although we could look at that policy and make it where it's a limit, like if it's over X amount, then Gary comes in to sign. It's kind of up to Gary if he wants to sign every check or just, and the board.
I don't think that's really necessary.
Away from it, I think, gosh, I think it was a while back, and there was a reason, and it just kind of became a habit, I think, which is not good. We should be following our policy. So
I mean, I've been trying to get in to review
Right.
I didn't this month, but I know I did the last couple months. So that so you at least had a signature, from somebody, because you've been requiring 3 people to review it, right? Is that still a requirement to have 3 people review
But
it?
we should really be having 3 people review. I mean, I do send the abstract out, but it's
I
not
looked at it that way.
quite the same as somebody coming in and looking at everything and matching and all the bills up with the checks.
I mean, I'll continue to try to do that. I didn't get in this month, but I will try to stop in. I mean, for those of you who don't know, I mean, I can walk to the library, so I'm that close. So
If you want, I could stop in also. Would you like me to call ahead of time?
Probably should. Well, we'll see what happens out of this meeting, because we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the, go ahead.
I'm up there quite a bit as well, so I can stop in.
Okay.
So back to the signature conversation. So you're saying that the requirement is, or is it a guidance or a requirement?
No, right now, if you read our policy, which you can later online, really, you're supposed to sign and I'm supposed to sign. But if you want to, maybe in the interest, I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to start coming in each month and signing the checks? you can't do this month. Well, you could. I could bring them in tomorrow. I got them all ready to go.
Did
but I
everything
didn't
get
fill 'em.
processed through L&B for signature authorization?
Yes, it did.
Okay,
Well, they've got all the paperwork, and I said to the person I gave it to, so are we good then? And she said, yep, it should go right through, so you should be good.
Stacy, what policy is it that requires you both to sign all the checks?
It's in the financial policy, and I'd have to look.
so it's the MPL, Madison Public Library Financial Policy.
Yes,
Yes.
that's why if we wanted to make an amendment, maybe because of the,
Yeah, that seems like significant overkill and not necessary. I mean, I think that if,
Yeah.
I mean, I would be comfortable if folks thought there was like a check over X amount or something. It's not like there's not oversight with the, you know, of the bill paying anyway, so.
right.
I
Well, we
agree
have
with
the
that.
accountant that comes in to put it in QuickBooks. We have trustees look at it. We have Chris sort of overseeing all that, so he might notice anything if it was a miss. I don't know. The big question is, what would the amount be?
Yeah, I think we should take that and look at the policy for our March meeting.
I think so too.
Because I agree. I think that's overkill, and I don't I don't know if anybody signed the checks, and I don't know how long I've been. on.
It's been, I
4
know
years.
we did when I first started, and like I said, can't remember, there was some reason we got out of it, and then it just never went back, and I just kind of forgot. And then I'm reading this policy because of this thing I got to fill in. I'm like, oh, and we're about to be audited. I'm glad I found this out now.
Can you find out in preparation, is there any guidance as to a dollar amount that if we make this edit or change, that, you know, what might be a dollar amount where you do want to have another signature? Maybe the other libraries, or maybe Pioneer has some suggestions, or, you know, it's just maybe get something that might help us.
Okay. I will do that.
Yeah, good catch though. Yeah, like if we wanted to do like $1,000, or I mean, there's quite a few checks though sometimes. that
Yeah,
are-
there are.
I was thinking about that. Like most of our checks, I think if you made it 3,000,
We'd be okay. Yeah.
because the book order and the credit card bill, even maybe 2,000 or 2,500, somewhere in there. But I'll ask PLS.
Okay.
Stacy,
Perfect.
could you email us that policy too?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Good catch there. All right. So we'll review that policy for now, though. We're gonna pay the bills for this month, and Gary doesn't need to stop in.
It's up to Gary. What do you want to do?
Why don't we go ahead and pay the bills for the month, and we'll address it next month.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay.
I mean, we've been doing it right along. It's not like it's any deviation from what we've been doing.
Right.
No, but now that I know I mean, I can't not tell you because, you know
No.
what I mean? Like,
It gets us back on track. Thank you.
yeah,
Right.
and better to find it out this way than if you
Yeah.
game and you're not following the policy. That's not
Yeah.
good for anybody.
Okay. Yeah, and I wonder too, like, if Gary, you've been pretty steadily. I mean, it's been a couple months since I've been in to review everything, but your signature is on that, so it kind of buys us a little wiggle. But okay.
Well, definitely by next meeting, everybody's signatures will be valid because they have all the paperwork. The woman I handed it to thought it would be pretty immediate, but she was, you know, she didn't know, like, would it be today? Would it be tomorrow? Because,
Paperwork, right?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, with that said, do we want to go ahead and pass our torch to Chris?
Light 'em
Sure.
on fire.
I'll take the torch. So I sent everything out today. Pretty
Yesterday.
exciting stuff. It's 1 month in. I will see if I can share my screen. There you go. So this is how we look 1 month in. And I think you'll see that the biggest variance, and Gary, thank you for reaching out today and pointing that out. But the biggest variance that we have through January is that we didn't get our Macedon library revenue yet. But we did get it in early February. It's already been deposited, so we're good from a cash standpoint. But the way the budget shows, the way we budgeted for it, we budgeted to receive it all in January. We didn't get it until February, so that's the big variance that you see in tax-based revenue. The other big variance that I think is good to note is in gifts and grants. The variance is almost $7,000. It's already more than the annual budget. So we're going to be over budget for 2021 for sure, which is good. And Stacy, that's just more good work getting the Grow with Google grant and the Wolfpack Books grants. So that's great.
Yeah. And we got CARES Act money too.
I was just gonna say
Yeah.
the CARES Act. Yeah, how
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, so that'll be even more so in February. It'll be great. From an expense standpoint, we're also under budget on expenses. A lot of that though is just due to timing. So benefits, we did a pretty decent job trying to get some of the trying to record all the benefits in January, but that builds up until we have those quarterly health insurance payments. And then the contractual is also just down due to timing, because we record that or we budget that evenly throughout the year, and it's not really even. So January was a little bit lighter than the average for 12 months. So overall, our operating results, we had about a little over $5,000, almost $6,000 in net income. That's not quite what we budgeted, but bear in mind that we didn't receive the Macedon library money. So actually, if you take that out of the equation, we're doing much better than budget. Our reserves at the end of January were almost $350,000. They were almost $600,000 this time last year, but that's because Macedon library didn't come in. So they will be up there by the time we look at this in February. The one thing I did want to note in here is that the Bullis endowment money. So the Bullis endowment money that's over with the Rochester Area Community Foundation, that is not an asset of the libraries. It's an asset. It's actually an asset of the Rochester Area Community Foundation. So we can't get that money if we want it because it's not actually ours. We don't own it. But what we do get are we are the designated beneficiary of that. So as the investment or the endowment, as it earns money, it goes to a grant making account, which is then distributed usually quarterly or semi-annually to the library. So usually that shows up not as interest, because it's not investment earnings on our asset. It's actually like a grant. It's actually like a periodic gift that's received from the Rochester Area Community Foundation. So right now it's budgeted as interest income, and that's where the account is actually set up. That's how it's coded in QuickBooks also. But just a thought that you might want to change it or consider changing it to gifts and grants, because that's really what it is. It's not.
So are you suggesting that maybe for our budget is our budget, right? So for 2022's budget, we ought to consider adjusting the interest income line items to not include that money and call it out separately, or either in the gift, I guess it sounds like in the gifts grants line items instead.
Yeah, so I think for 2021, we should report it as gifts and grants. So gifts and grants will be even more over budget, and then interest income will probably be a little bit under budget.
It makes sense because you're right. Even though it is interest that they're collecting that we're getting, it's not interest income in the real sense.
No.
Not for the library.
Makes total sense, right?
Yeah.
It's more of an endowment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. and it's not ours,
Yeah.
it's theirs, so they record they record it as interest income.
Right.
Then they give it to us, and then we record that as a grant. And then another small thing too, we recorded some 2021 funding that was received in 2020. So that was just a journal entry. We didn't actually receive more cash from Palmac and Granada, but
So Gananda, just
Granada, yeah, I was looking at that. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. Yeah,
Gananda.
yeah, Granada.
All right, well, do we need a motion then to update our, the way that budget reads, or it's just a line item that we can
I
adjust?
think like Gary said, the budget's the budget. That is
Yeah,
what it is. We'll just have a variance that we point out every single month.
okay, all right, just to be sure we're all on the same page. All right. Okay,
So is the interest on the endowment at the RACF already in your chart under grants? I'm just trying to,
In the one I was just sharing,
yeah,
there's no interest yet. So we
Uh,
we don't recognize that until they actually make the distribution,
oh, okay, that makes sense.
which will happen. Yeah, it depends on, probably if you call them and ask them for it, they would do it, but they usually make it like twice a year at least, if
fine.
not more.
Okay, so when we see an actual check,
Yeah.
then that's when it gets added to the chart.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be clear because I wasn't sure.
No, good question.
and then one thing just to call out is we have not seen our bill for the New York State retirement. And since Bruce isn't here, I'll go ahead and send him an email after, and we'll ask for an update if we don't see it by the time next meeting.
Yeah, because usually that's like soon. Because I think they have to pay it by February in order to get a discount. I think it's February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, you have to pay it in November to get the discount. If you don't pay it till February, then you pay the full.
And it's late. Oh yeah. Okay.
But they may
Yeah.
have paid it. They just might not have
Yeah.
Billed
printed
us.
the bill up for us yet.
Yeah. So I'll just throw that his way, and then I think, is there a meeting this week? Second
Yes.
or-
Yes.
I've been really bad and haven't been going to those. Sorry. Okay. Anything else with budgets or finances? All right. Okay, our director's report. Thank you, Chris.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Any questions, concerns, comments? Other than Stacy killing it and bringing in some more funds for us.
Yeah.
When you coming?
Woo, woo. Yeah, exciting stuff. A lot of good feedback, a lot of good updates. So thank you. And I do have a couple of the call outs for later in our agenda. Let's see, Bruce isn't here tonight, as we said. So let's see, Phoebe, we'll pass the torch to you for our Friends update.
Okay, we hope to hold our spring book sale, maybe with modifications, and that would be, let's see, May the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, May 13th through 15th. So yeah, with luck. We're also planning the Doug's Fish Fry. That's been set. That will be in the fall, after the fall book sale. Sorry, no, that will be in September, and the barbecue will be in the fall after the fall book sale. Those have been arranged, and so those are set. We're also contemplating having another couple of raffles with our baskets. We had 2 very successful raffle baskets last year, and we raised a couple of $100. Those were from donations from local businesses. And so like pizza and car washes and Parkwood, that kind of thing. And so we're, with luck, we might get a donation from Lowe's for a barbecue grill. So we hope maybe to be able to have raffles for that and also for some baskets, but that has yet to be finalized. So that's basically where we're at. Any questions or comments?
I was just curious about the book sale, and are you waiting for the restriction decision on whether we're gonna open or not, or?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, okay. We have a whole bunch of books that have been donated. We have piles and piles of books that we're dying to get rid of. So depending on the restrictions in place, we hope to go ahead and have that May book sale. The dates have been reserved with the town, so that's
Great.
good.
Okay, great. Good deal. All right. Any other questions or concerns for Phoebe? Questions mainly? Thank you. Thanks for those updates. A lot of good stuff coming up. And yeah, I know there's been a problem with books at many libraries, and people needing to take their books someplace and not having anywhere. And even the dog-eared book, I've taken like bins full over there, and they'll sort through them and take some, but then I usually donate them to the hospital or something, just because I don't know what else to do with them at this point. Okay, so our pandemic response plan. So Gary had a good call out and addition and adjustment there. Anything else that anyone brought up or saw of concern in the plan that Stacy sent out?
No?
Great.
Look good.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought that change was good too.
Yep, perfect. Okay, so if I could get a motion to approve the response plan.
I'll make the motion.
Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Thank you, and then all in favor.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm bouncing around here. All right. Do you want to talk about hours and March 15th?
Can I interrupt you for a second? Debbie, did you vote on that? You were
Yes.
frozen and then you voted. Okay, you came back.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thanks.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
No, it's fine. That's fine. So browsing starting March 1st potentially, and then March 15th with hours additions.
Yeah, so which do you want to talk about first? Maybe March 1st, just because it comes first on the calendar. So I have talked with staff to assess if they're comfortable with the idea of having 15-minute browsing visits back in place, but you would need to make an appointment to come in the library. And rather than saying it can only be one person, it would be anybody that lives under the same roof with you can come to that appointment. So if you're the only one under your roof, well, then it would be one. But if you are a family of 5, then it would be 5. But, they're all going to kind of have the same terms. So that's how we look at it. So that's kind of like our move towards transitioning back to how we were before Christmas happened. We'd like to get back to being able to have 7 people just come in for a 15-minute turn, but we want to be careful, and mostly because of the strains and because not everybody is vaccinated, but there are a lot of people eager to be able to see the books in person again.
Got you. So we're not saying 15 minutes and 7 people. It's just 15-minute increments for either 1 or 7 or, household.
Yeah. So you call and make the appointment and you say, I'd like to make an appointment for the Brown family.
Yes.
Randomly. And we say, how many people will that be? Just so we know. And they'll say, it's gonna be me, my husband, and my daughter, and okay. And we make sure they know you gotta have your mask, you gotta sanitize. I mean, I think most people know that, but we'll remind them.
And the staff was comfortable?
Yep. And if you come to the door, you can't come through the door. We're not gonna unlock the door till your mask is on.
Sure.
So that'll also alleviate the whole problem with somebody ending up in the library. And then I don't want to waste police officers' time having to come to the library because somebody doesn't want to put it on.
Right.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. If it's not on your face, we're not going to unlock the door. So you have to put it on. We'll have a sign.
Yeah, yeah. And then in that appointment making process, reiterating the point.
Yeah. Yeah. So
No shirt, no mask, no service.
yep. Gotta follow the rules.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. And I think the community members and to your point in your director's report, I think as we see the days getting longer and the temperatures going up and people coming out of hibernation and
Yep.
it's just gonna
Well,
and we are seeing the numbers go down. So
Right.
people are gonna be more apt to want to come out, and I love it.
I also think as the weather gets nicer, it also increases comfort level because we can open the doors and get a little fresh air circulating in. A lot of variables going forward that are going to make things a lot better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So those are the two things: allowing the people to have appointments for 15 minutes up per household, and then the other thing is adding that hour back. So we'd be open till 7 once daylight savings time happens, which I believe was March 15th.
Yeah, have you already seen a push towards needing that? Or are you thinking with the 15-minute browsing that hour, you could see that hour being more used?
Yeah,
from
we
the
think
area?
once the people can have a browsing turn and once there's light again, that more people would be able to actually use that turn, because a lot of people can't see well enough to drive once it starts to get dark, so they just avoid it. But once we start to get back into lightness, I think that hour would get used. Of course, we can backtrack on it. We could pilot it for like a month, and if people aren't using it, well, there's nothing to say we can't go back to 6, but I'm hopeful they'll use it. I mean,
I
you
think
never
you're
really
right.
know until you try it.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic, Stacy, did you used to reduce hours in the summertime or?
No. This year we were gonna try it where we would be open half the year. When it's cold out, we were going to actually stay open longer. The thought being that people would be bored and the library would be something they would be able to rely on. But probably because of the pandemic, it didn't quite work out the way we thought. In the summer, I think 7 o'clock is late enough, because historically in the summer after 7, it's not busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, people kind of, for a while there was at one point where the hours had been changing a lot, and it might even been before I was on the board, but
yeah, we had
it got confusing, and my wife and I were always having to we'd have something on the fridge and we were like, are these even current or not now? And so consistency, I think, is helpful to the people. So I know pandemics have caused us to make certain changes, but if we go to 7, I mean, assuming nothing else happens, pandemic wise, we don't have this spike or whatever, I just assume stay there for a while and not be changing a lot and not going to 8 and going back to 6. Just stay there, right? And make it consistent for everybody for a period of time.
Right.
That's just my 2 cents.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. so if everyone is in agreement and likes the idea, any other questions or concerns to pose?
I just want to point out one more thing that we thought that the hours where you can make an appointment should be Monday through Thursday initially. Now that can change as we move forward, but it's mostly because of staffing.
Mhm.
Because we'll still be doing grab and go, because not everybody's gonna want to come in.
Yeah.
And
Um,
another
Well, you're
thought,
not making your appointment to pick up, you're making your appointment to browse, essentially.
Right.
right, but when you got people answering the phones and working on filling orders for grab and go, I don't know, it might be able to work with Friday and Saturday. The other concern was we do have 4 high needs students come over to the library. They help clean the library, they disinfect stuff. Sometimes they're putting together some of the grab and go things. We don't have to worry about them because they're in the Pelmac district. They've all been tested. They're not sick. But we don't, because we allow them to come and it's part of their track, they're on a special school track. We don't want to do anything that would mean that they couldn't still come to the library. And also we thought people might not understand that situation if we're saying, so Friday, that's why for sure Friday we don't think is a good day for people to have appointments, because it could just turn into a whole.
Yeah, I was just thinking anyway, if you started off and see how the browsing goes, if your numbers need to increase, maybe you look at Saturday, again,
Yeah.
being
skip
that
Friday. Yeah.
folks are working Monday through Friday and it's easier to get there on Saturdays. If the browsing, if you're seeing a need to increase, maybe that's something we circle back to.
In March, yeah, we could add Saturday maybe if it's needed. That makes sense. Friday is such a short day and a lot of people work, so I don't know that a lot of people would miss Friday
Right.
as a browsing
You could
day.
always keep track of the amount of requests you have if somebody asks for Saturday and see what kind of traction there is there.
Right. That's true.
Good call.
So you're
Yeah.
trying to avoid people being in the library when the students are there cleaning?
Yeah,
And
because
they do that on
Friday.
Friday, so that's I agree that you start to get numbers in the library too, maybe, I know you had
Right.
certain capacities and stuff, so I agree that, just leave Fridays out, or well, right now, Fridays, Saturdays is fine, but then we can revisit it next meeting.
Yeah.
so it's going to be Monday through Thursday, and then we'll talk about Saturday next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even, see how you do. I mean, we can talk about it, and if
Yeah.
your numbers aren't reflecting it, we can bring it up like we're doing with the COVID response anyway.
Right.
We're talking about that every month. So yeah. All right.
I think a lot of people are going to be happy that we're going to have something where they can come in again.
I agree. Okay. So if we could get a motion to add 15-minute browsing starting March 1st, and then add hours back starting March 15th.
Make that motion.
I'll
And-
second.
Thank you. And then all in favor? Here.
Who made that motion?
I
Steve.
did.
Okay, thanks.
And I saw Bruce Chapman joined us.
I'm here.
Hi, thank you so much for
Hi.
taking some time to talk
My
to us
pleasure.
about your insurance here.
My pleasure. Did you want to just ask me some questions, or what did you have in mind?
So actually, I had just shot a question saying, is that the lowest coverage offered, or is there a lower,
This is
there-
for the crime bond, correct?
correct? Yes, thank you.
Yes, we could go lower. However, I suspect that $100 premium is a minimum, and that you actually could probably go higher and still keep it at 100.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. And that was a great price, I thought. I just was curious, you know.
Right. I
Right.
can investigate that though for you if you'd like, just to make sure. That's
Um,
only my,
I don't know. How does that, did anybody else have questions or concerns, or was it just?
So Bruce, this is Gary Foley. The 70,000 was what the town had in place, correct?
yes. And so.
And do you
that
know
was-
why that was selected, or what's the reason for that amount? I mean, the only reason we would change it, one, we would change it based on what the cost is, and it sounds like that's not gonna be the issue. So the
Mhm.
other reason to change it would be the liability concerns, and, you know, we don't know, so I'm just curious as to, you know, what's the reason behind that number, and why might we wanna go with a bigger or lower number? Any thoughts that you have?
Well, the crime bond is going to cover employees for things that they might do where they're essentially stealing money. I don't know. I know in talking to Stacy, she'd mentioned that there were some funds that come in from the town of Macedon and the town of Farmington that Stacy, I believe, is in charge of. I mean, 70,000 was kind of an arbitrary number. To be honest, it was what we had when we first wrote it. That was what the prior policy had. So, what kind of funding do you get in a given year, Stacy?
Well, ballpark, it's like around 300,000 altogether.
So, I mean, 70,000. You pretty much notice, I guess, if over time someone did a little at a time for a long time, you might not notice 70,000. The number, I'll be honest with you, I don't know exactly where it came from.
Yeah, that's fair.
How long ago was that policy that it came from written?
I have represented that policy for about 3 years, so it had been in place years prior to that as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
No guidance on a percentage of that, you know, potential or anything like that?
That's a very good question. While I asked about the crime bond being reduced, I'll see if there's a kind of a general rule of thumb. Typically, it's been almost a number pulled out of the air, but let me find out about that.
Okay.
yeah.
If it's
Okay.
been that price for a long time, you know, everything goes up, so maybe it's worth, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining and just doing a little more investigation.
Oh, my pleasure. That's all you have? And any other questions at all?
That was it.
Well, man, that was the easiest thing I've had to do all day.
Thank you for coming, Bruce.
So I will communicate back to Stacy my findings then. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Very good.
Yep.
And just my to-do list then is, can the bond be reduced, and is there a reduction in premium? And what's the rule of thumb in determining the amount of a bond?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thanks,
Thank
Bruce.
you. You
Yeah.
too.
Bye.
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 Thanks. All right. That was easy.
Yeah, he knows his stuff, and if he doesn't, he finds out.
Yeah. No, that's great.
You know, I just listened to his recap. He said, could the bond be reduced? But then he had also said the bond could possibly be increased for the same price.
Right.
So
He did
is he
say
gonna
that.
check on that too?
He said he would. I
No,
think
he
he's
did.
gonna
He
check
didn't.
on the rule of thumb.
Yeah,
So if the rule of thumb were to show, I don't know, for every $100,000, you should have I
Whatever.
don't know,
Yeah.
$80,000 worth of.
Yeah.
I think.
Coverage.
Well, I guess we'll wait and see what he said,
see what he
Stacy,
says.
and then we can ask more questions, I guess. Okay.
Okay. Just a reminder, for the Wolf Pack discussion on March 8th, to register for that if you haven't already, or if you can. It is in the middle of the day, but Yeah, 2 o'clock. And Stacy did confirm that you are going to record it and have it posted. I kind of blasted social media last week with it, and I know that question came up a lot.
Yeah,
And someone I saw had called you and asked. So
Yeah.
before I had a chance
Yeah.
to update.
as long as people register, even if they don't come in person afterwards, that way I have their email and I send out the link, whether you want it or not, you'll have the recording.
Beautiful. How many people do you have registered so far?
In the 60s somewhere.
Good.
Last I checked. And there's going to be a big ad in the paper, so hopefully that'll get even more. And
Great.
I just got called today by a Rochester library because they wanted to know how I did it and they want to try because there's a second round. So that's kind of cool. And then they are going to promote it too in Rochester.
Beautiful.
Cool.
See if we get some
That's wonderful.
Rochesterians.
What paper is it gonna be in?
The Wayne Times.
Okay.
And I know I shared it on Palmyra and Walworth's library sites,
Good.
along with Gananda and Macedon Matters. I think a Palmyra one. Anyway. So yeah, I'll have to refresh those.
I'm getting a little nervous about it though.
That's
It'll be okay though.
Yeah, you'll be fine. All right. With that, that's all I had on our agenda. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about or add?
I do. Sorry.
Okay.
So Gary had brought up an interesting thought, which is how can we reach people that are housebound? Because some people, because of the pandemic and because of their age, they're not going to leave their homes. It's hard for them to get library stuff. Or maybe they're just older and they have mobility issues. It's not even about the pandemic, whatever reason. Gary and I think his wife were thinking about that. And Gary asked the question, like, what can we do? So I've been doing some research. So
Don't let the folks know, Stacy,
sorry.
too, what you're currently doing, because I didn't even realize, and maybe others know, and I just didn't, with respect to the Parkside.
Yeah, we do deliveries to Parkside, so they can place holds. We fill the holds. One of our employees goes over once a week. They pick up returned borrowed books, and they bring the held items to Parkwood, and that works out fairly well for us. But that's Parkwood, and there are a lot more people in Macedon than just the people in Parkwood that may not have any kind of way to get library books. So in Buffalo, the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library System just started doing what they call library by mail. And what they have are these really nice canvas bags, and you can borrow up to 3 books at a time. And they mail them in this bag to you, and it costs $9 round trip, because after you're done with the 3 books, you flip a card that's part of the bag, you flip it the other way, and you mail it back. But that's kind of pricey, $9 round trip. I mean, they're paying it. They got some kind of grant to do it. And I just spoke to the woman, and she said that they got the grant to be able to do 50 people a month. They're already at 50 people a month, and they just started this month.
I was going to say,
So now they're like, oh my gosh, like they might have to figure out if they can get another grant, or I don't know what they're going to do. But I thought, well, it's something to think about. Maybe we could have some kind of structure where maybe it's not free, but it's available. I don't know. Another thing I did, there is a library system in the Midwest. Don't ask me, I can't remember which one it is, but they have this deal with, you know how we have like Grubhub?
Yeah.
Well, this community has something called Chomp, and it's like Grubhub. So they'll deliver your food to you through an app, and Chomp paired up with this library system so people can order food, and also they can order library books, and they pay through the app to have the books delivered to their house.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. So I did some research, and I called different services. I called DoorDash and ended up hanging up because their customer service there It was so terrible that I'm like, I don't even want to get involved with these people. Uber Eats doesn't have restaurants really delivery to Macedon, so that's no good. Grubhub though does. I talked to a woman and explained the chomp thing and really tried to sell my idea to her. And I'm like, it could be great for restaurants too, you know, like think of it, get pizza and a movie tonight, you know, like it could help the library and the pizza parlor. And of course they're getting money because so she's like, yeah, I really like your idea. So she was going to send it to somebody higher up. So
Cool.
maybe I'll get contacted again. Maybe I won't. But I thought, you know, it was worth a call. We'll see.
Yeah.
But anybody wants to just be like letting these ideas simmer in the back of their mind, I can't think of any other way to get books to people. Like if I wish there was something that went around. I wish we could work with UPS because that guy goes everywhere, but we can't. But if there was some way we could partner with somebody, and I called Meals on Wheels, but haven't had a chance to have a really good discussion with the woman there. But I did find out Meals on Wheels right now only serves about, I think they said 8 people in Macedon. So that's kind of a small venue. If we were to get volunteers, which we could, by law, we have to offer a mileage. And mileage is pricey. And when you talk about deliveries, man, that could add up, especially in Macedon. Everything's kind of spaced out. Can you imagine? And some of our people are more towards Gananda where there's all those loop-de-loops. I get lost over there. I wouldn't want to send me. I'd probably one delivery $100.
So another service, because I actually do that as my side hustle, is I deliver for Shipped, which is Target and the Party Store. And they just started opening prescriptions for CVS.
Okay.
So it's SHIPT.
SHIPT.
Yep. So that might be because I deliver in Victor, Webster, and Penfield Fairport area. So that's another company that's
I will call them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. I think if we could get with one of these kind of things, it could be a thing.
Yeah.
The only problem I feel bad about is for people who can't maybe afford to pay for a service.
Yeah.
But we could keep thinking about that. But in the meantime, at least having something.
Right.
I mean, it would be a start.
Where did the Buffalo Library get the grant from?
A foundation. They didn't divulge.
No, they wouldn't give it up?
They don't want to give it up, no.
Yeah, okay.
And it's a hard thing. If you get into that, I mean, once you do it, you can't be like, okay, we got 50 people. No, sorry, 51 person, you can't, you know. And how do you know? I mean, how do you know how much to ask for? It's tricky. You don't know how many people might jump on it.
Right.
And theirs is only for people, like you have to be housebound. Like, I don't know how they verify it, but they're saying you know, it could be temporary. Like maybe you broke both your legs and you got to be home for 8 weeks. Or it could be a permanent situation, but you have to be housebound.
Oh, I love that idea. We'll have to think about.
Yeah, where this kind of started from was my wife and I became library deliverers for our own family members who were locked down in independent living. So they weren't in nursing homes, they weren't in assisted living, they were in independent. Independent people can have cars, they come and go, they do their own thing, but they got treated as if they were like in assisted living or you know, so they were locked in and they couldn't go to the library like they normally do. So my wife and I became deliverers for family members. And you know, we just started, you know, thinking and saying, you know, gee, there's, you know, and it turns out that a lot of the libraries, even locally, do service the nursing homes and the facilities that are within their community. And that's when I found out that Stacy said, yeah, we're already going over to Parkwood.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But, you know, the population's aging. right? We got the mobility issues may become greater than they are right now as people continue to age.
Right.
So, so this is what got the ball rolling. And I really appreciate Stacy kind of picking it up and trying to see what she could find out.
It's a good idea.
I think
Yeah.
it's a good idea, and I think even beyond people that are housebound, if you have a young family and everybody, both parents work and you have kids and it's busy and you just want to be able to get stuff, like if there was an option to have it delivered,
Yeah.
I think it would be nice for people.
Well,
Yeah.
we're becoming that kind of a society in reality. I mean, you
Well,
look
yeah.
at, a lot of the people that are using a lot of these services are the younger folks even.
You'd be
You know?
shocked at what people will order delivered to their home.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am.
Really?
I just can't believe it. I'm like, I would never even think to order that online and have it delivered, but here I am delivering it to you.
Well, you say Target, we got toilet paper and paper towels delivered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much does it cost for somebody on average, do you know, to get?
It's a percentage of, and I'd have to look, because like they pay a percent and then I get paid a percent of that percent, and it's I don't know, I've never actually done it myself, so I have no idea like what people pay, but I know like Instacart, they charge like a little bit more than Shipt does, but I don't know, Target's
Somebody needs to start a contract business like these things, but it's just for libraries.
Right.
There you go, Tara.
well, but like you said, like, okay, you could get a movie from the library and a pizza from Salvatore's, and I mean,
I know, like Salvatore's could partner with us and be like, hey, get your
Or-
pizza on Wednesday, and then you can have 2 movies with it.
right.
You
Or
know,
that the
Wednesday
new restaurant there in the old flower shop. I can never remember the name.
Effortless Eats. I heard it was really good.
Or
Joan
the
went.
bistro. Or I mean,
we
we're
just
getting
had
more.
it. It was good.
Yeah. So yeah,
I think it'd be something. I don't know.
the next side hustle. Here I go.
You should, man. You might get rich on that. You could like start here and expand, take over the whole country.
Right? Watch out. All right. Well, we'll keep our wheels spinning on that one. That's a cool idea. I like it.
Yeah. What do you think about having piloting something where we would have a fee structure? Like if we can't get with Shipt or Grubhub,
Like that envelope.
mail thing, we could try the mail thing. You could have 3, like it'd be a pretty straightforward fee structure. So 3 things for $9, 6 things for $18. This is per month. Just keep adding.
Yeah, like you
Is
said,
there a
it's
grant that would cover that?
A grant that would cover the postage. Well, the problem with that is, see, Buffalo is a whole, I mean, they're big and they probably have more money than we have. If we got a grant, how much would we ask for? And then if we didn't ask for enough, you don't want to have to turn people away. So I don't quite know how to do it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you called it a pilot, and you wrote the grant in a way that it was a pilot, that you're trying this out and that it's for a limited volume and a limited amount of time to see if there's a demand and how well it works, and then obviously, okay, you did this as a pilot, now you want to do it as a service. Potentially whoever the grants through, you could potentially go back and say, hey, this is our results. It might be something that then other libraries, this could, like you say, it could expand into multiple libraries offering the similar kind of service, and that you want to, give it a shot. I don't know, just an idea.
I just can't imagine any foundation permanently. Basically, you'd be asking every year for a foundation to fund this. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't
Or
know.
at least
Well,
during
that's
the pandemic, maybe. Well, not, because it's not just for
And I-
pandemic people.
Yeah.
But, and do you know where to
Yeah.
buy those cloth bags that you talked about, the canvas
I
bags?
could get a grant for that.
For the
Oh,
bags themselves, but not the
Yeah.
postage. Yeah.
Not the program, but the bags I could probably get a grant for. Another thought I had was if we piloted it, if we were to ask people who were able to pay, just to pay, like, say, instead of $9 for 3 books, it would be 10. So most of it would go to the postage, but the $1, maybe we could have maybe there could be a way, like, if you truly are housebound
Hardship.
and on a fixed income, maybe we could provide, the people who are able to pay could help subsidize for people who wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess you'd have to see how much of a need is out there, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean,
that's a good idea.
it's not like we'd be making a profit. We'd set that money
No.
aside specifically so people who couldn't afford it would be able to do it.
Right.
My other thought.
I
don't know.
love that idea. Yeah.
And it's only $1 more, and 10 is so much easier to deal with than 9, right?
Yeah.
Mathematically.
Yeah. Like if I'm at the gas pump, I'm squeezing that extra $1 in there.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
When you talked about, mileage
Yeah.
and having volunteers, you say you're required to have to pay them the mileage. You can't, a volunteer, like I know some of the other volunteer services out there, like Meals on Wheels or whatever. Do those people have to collect the mileage? I mean, if you want to be a volunteer, may not want it, right?
Right. That's the catch. So you have to be able to offer it if the person wants the mileage. But people can say, well, I don't want to get paid for my mileage. Just, they don't have to take it. But there will be people that will want to take it. So you have to plan like your volunteers will take it because they might.
Right.
And you can't present it like make them feel guilty because they want it either. You know what I mean?
And then I would think there would be like insurance, like auto insurance for the driving, and if you got into an accident or
Yeah. Well, yeah, that gets.
because there's like supplemental policies. I know like with Shipt, they will offer me like an additional supplemental policy if something happens while I'm delivering.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But
anyway, yeah.
But with the bags, I mean, I like the bag idea, and I don't see why, if somebody's willing to pay, I don't see why that would be a bad idea to give that a shot. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know. And then we could see like how much of a need or want is there. Because I'm sure if people caught wind of, oh, I can, pay for it, you're going to get the questions. So
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. I want to work it out more. Maybe it could be a plan, like you pay X amount for the year, which entitles you to X amount of books per year. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, or start off slow and
A subscription, I mean.
Yeah, like a subscription. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. Maybe
I have a question, and that is, did Buffalo have some sort of deal with the post office? Because have you guys mailed a package lately? It costs a fortune.
it's because
And there's some books that are much, much heavier than others. So
yep, it's because it's media mail, and media mail is it's a little bit better rate than just a regular package might be. And
Yeah, I sell books and online occasionally, and usually it's for one book it's around 230, something like that, 260, somewhere's in there.
Yeah.
And it isn't necessarily, the weight isn't as big an issue with media mail, but I have never sold a lot, like 3 books or 4 books. It's always been like 1 book. So I when Stacy said 9, I'm like, for 3 books, it seemed close to, probably, since I'm typically seeing 260 or so for a book. So that seemed to make sense to me.
That's going one way.
That's
yeah,
one
that's
way.
round
That's
trip.
right.
No, round trip.
No,
I realize yours
what
is,
he's
but
doing is one way.
what
yeah,
I'm doing is one way, right?
Right.
So
Right.
So anyway, all things to sort of think about. If anybody gets a brain wave of some great idea, I don't know, There's
Oh,
probably
I
a
love
good
it.
way to do this. I like the shipped idea. I didn't know about shipped. That's even better because they're already dealing with stuff. The tricky part is we're not selling the books, so it would be a different model. They'd have to just
You gotta
actually
get 'em
I think it'd
back.
be easier. It'd just be like, here's what it is, and
Yeah.
then give the driver a cut and they get the rest, and we're just
Right,
don't get anything except somebody to deliver the books.
right, yeah,
And you gotta
Yeah.
get them back again.
yeah,
Yep. Well, you have, yeah, that's true too.
With a service like Ship, that's one way.
Right. Well, maybe you could work with them to offer, like, they'd pick up, or, if you needed pickup, you'd have to pay for it. And if you didn't, maybe you could get somebody to drop it in our book drop.
You
yeah,
could ask them and see what they have to say.
right,
Yeah, I mean, it's
Doesn't hurt to
always
ask.
ask.
yeah, they get, yeah. Okay, love it. All right, anything else? That was a good one. I like it.
Stacy, when you get the bills ready next month, just shoot me an email and I'll call you to
Oh,
come down.
sure. Yep, I will do that.
And then Tara, I think you were gonna maybe have a conversation with Bruce Babcock about, if there's anything else that the town is looking to cut in terms of costs related to the library, that they give us a heads up before they make the change.
Yes, thank you. Lead time on anything like that. Yep, so we get that down in the books. Yes, thank you for that. Yes, yes. All right. With that said, I think we are good for this evening, and we are still set for our next meeting. I'm just pulling up my calendar here. Our next meeting is scheduled for the 22nd of March, 6:30. And we have our Zoom, which I've Stacy requested that I add the Zoom information to the agenda. So thank you for that. I've updated. So moving forward, we'll have that tacked on. All right. So if I could get a motion to adjourn our meeting for the evening.
I'll make it.
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor? All right.
Aye.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
You
Yeah.
too.
Stay
Bye.
safe.
Yep, you too.
You too.